What's up, guys, and welcome back. I'm Ash from fallingleaveskungfu.com, and in this video I want to talk about 3 practical lessons that we should all take away as defenders in a self-defense scenario. But before we get to those, if you haven't already, head over to the website, check it out. I got a bunch of articles on self-defense, training, nutrition, and of course, martial arts. All right, let's get right into it. I have my own long list of unpopular observations about this whole unfortunate scenario. I'm going to just go ahead and keep all those to myself. I'm not going to comment on anything other than specifically what we should be focused on with regards to self-defense. Self-defense takeaway number 1, show me your hands. All of the eyewitness accounts from the incident all corroborate the same thing. Karmelo had his hand in his bag before the attack happened. There are 4 pre-attack indicators that are so common that they're basically universal. The first one is looking away. If somebody is in a confrontation with you and they suddenly look away like they're not paying attention to you anymore, that's basically a dead giveaway that a sucker punch is headed your way. Number 2, closely related, blading the body. Number 3 is what they call hemming your garment. Anytime that somebody starts messing with their like the belt line on their pants, or they start fidgeting with the bottom of their shirt, they refer to that as hemming the garment, and that's basically an indicator that an attack is imminent, usually going to involve a weapon of some kind, which would be concealed beneath the jacket or inside their pants. And number 4 is obviously somebody is hiding one or both of their hands. That's also an indication that either they're about to attack you, again, could be a sucker punch, or it could be a weapon involved. If somebody is in close proximity to you, especially if they're somewhere where they don't belong and they're acting either belligerent or strangely for the situation, those are all clear indications of a threat. If somebody is displaying those actions, you should take note of them and consider them as a sign of an impending threat. Now, what should you do in that scenario? That's going to depend on the unique situation that you find yourself in. If possible, it's always good to create some distance. If you can get yourself out of the situation before it escalates, that's always the best course of action. It's going to be the least amount of legal headache for you, and also is going to make sure that you get home safe and sound. But if you can't, you may need to be proactive in how you deal with that threat. Again, that's going to depend on your situation. Are you on public transit? Are there other people around? Are you armed? Are you not? Are you trained? Are you facing a significant disparity in force? In other words, is the attacker going to be much bigger than you? Multiple potential attackers? All of those kind of things. So you have to make a judgment call in the moment. But the most important point is that you should absolutely pay attention to the body language of anybody that could potentially be a threat and is displaying those behaviors. Again, we want to take a mental note of those behaviors, because that's going to factor in to our next point, which is number 2. If you are in a legitimate self-defense situation, you need to be able to articulate the facts that led up to that situation, not your feelings, not opinions, but the facts, like what kind of behaviors the person was displaying before the situation escalated to whatever degree use of force. You want to be able to say, he had a weapon, he said he was going to hurt me, and he pointed a pew-pew at me, or whatever the case may be. He put his hands on me. But you need to make a note of all of those things and then be able to clearly articulate them when the time comes. Now, the hard part about this is that stress is going to make it difficult. Once you're under stress, the language area of your brain is the first thing to go, which is why anytime that you're involved in a self-defense situation, you don't talk to the cops immediately. Before you talk to the cops, make sure that you get a lawyer and that you have your story straightened out with your lawyer before you give your statement. Now, I don't mean that you're going to cook up a story with your lawyer like Saul Goodman to make you look good in this situation, but you got to give time for the adrenaline to wear off and for all of the memories leading up to the incident to sort of come back to the forefront of your mind. So if you guys remember from one of my recent videos, I was over in New Mexico at Ghost Ring Tactical doing an urban tactics class that was focused heavily on concealed carry. And one of the things that we spent quite a bit of time over the 4-day training camp working on was this ability to articulate what happened after the fact. So they ran us through a variety of different scenarios, and then after the scenario, the instructors would play the role of either law enforcement or your lawyer, and they would ask you for the facts about what happened. In some cases, some of the instructors were law enforcement, and some of the students were law enforcement. So we had a lot of experience on site of people questioning you about your actions after the fact. And one of the things that you start to see is that when people are all amped up on adrenaline, just again, that language area of your brain shuts down, and people get focused on one thing. They compress the timeline. Well, they walked in, they looked dangerous, and so I took action. And one scenario that we were in was like a restaurant type scenario, and 4 bad actors enter the restaurant, and then the situation unfolds. And in the after action review, the instructor was pressing one of the guys in question about why he took the action that he did, and the only thing that his brain could fix on and regurgitate at the time was, they were wearing hoodies, they were wearing hoodies, right? So we all know that it goes without saying that just 4 guys walking into a restaurant all wearing hoodies is not reason to deploy the use of a level of force that could end in somebody getting deleted. And basically, you need to have your mind right before anything like that ever happens. You need to have rehearsed that several times so that when something happens, you can just say, I'm not going to say anything right now until after I talk to my lawyer. And then you can review everything with somebody who's representing your best interest and have time for all the important details to come out and to reconstruct the timeline in an accurate way. And then hopefully that's going to go in your favor, because when you had to take action, you actually had to take action and you didn't just jump the gun. And number 3, and this one is very important and possibly the most controversial, but you cannot initiate a confrontation, even in Arizona, that has pretty judicious laws when it comes to self-defense. You cannot initiate a confrontation, and then if that confrontation escalates into the use of a level of force in which someone is unalived, and be able to claim self-defense. So now the devil is always going to be in the details. If somebody is on my property and I go out to ask them to leave my property and they pull a weapon on me and then I respond in kind, well, there's going to be some nuance there. But broadly speaking, especially in this case where Karmelo was obviously in a place that he wasn't supposed to be and didn't leave when he was asked to, and then the situation escalated, there's no self-defense claim in that kind of situation. So it's on you, right, to take care of yourself. And if you have the opportunity to de-escalate or leave the situation, even if it was you that initiated the interaction to begin with, be smart, de-escalate, walk away, especially if you're carrying an effective tool for self-defense on you, and get yourself into trouble. What do you guys think? Did I miss anything important about this situation? If so, let me know in the comments down below. As always, train hard, stay strong. I'll see you guys next time.